Hey everybody, welcome back. Today it's Wednesday, and it's Wednesday all day. We are on Magna SearchGroup.tv network, and this is Big Game Hunters. I'm sitting here with the big dog, Jay Berard. My name's Michael Flint, and today we're talking about...
Robots. That's a terrible robot dance. But, last week we talked about some of the technology trends that... are big in 2016, yep. And one of those focuses was robots. So we thought, we had a great dialogue last time. I don't think people actually realize robots are already here. They're here to stay.
I was surprised about the amount of feedback that we got, from I guess candidates and some companies that we work with, and asking, about where this trend is going and how that will apply to the workforce.
Yes. How are robots going to be integrated into?
Yeah. So we took kind of a step back and we looked at it from two vantage points. It's the specific industries and where robots will take over, but more importantly, we thought we would start this show off by talking about where they already are. Surprise, they're already working in your backyard and in some of the jobs that humans have had for a long time.
And we're talking just from either a prototype standpoint or there's actually functional robots in certain areas. Yep. I mean, when you first think about robots, you think, okay, personal assistant, the vacuum. There's already the vacuum that will move itself, and a few other things. You just see these prototypes.
That's more the Internet of anything than it is about a functional, service-orientated, functional job where someone's getting a paycheck for.
Yes.
I mean, I guess you can say that Zoom character
but
thing.
It's just we're just going through another revolution. So if you fast forward back into the early 1900s in a manufacturing environment, you've got everything's manual, and they find a way to automate it. And the reason that they automate it is because it's going to lower the operating cost of the organization, and there's going to be more of profit to reinvest or to do whatever the hell they want with it, right?
Or
so now,
and that's part of it. The other part of it is risk mitigation. So for the first thing that we profile was the anesthesiologists.
Yeah.
So you have a situation where this robot can take over a job of someone that was paid a considerable amount of money.
One of the highest paid professional.
One of the highest paid
doctors, am I saying that right? Professional doctors.
Yeah, of course.
One of the highest paid ones.
Medical professional.
Medical professional. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, but the fact of the matter is, there's risk mitigation that's driving that decision, just as much as the cost savings of having that individual apply the anesthetic to the individual going under the knife.
Exactly, understanding what the individual is what they're for example, if I went under the knife, understanding what my body requirements are is something that they're just doing from a data perspective, where you have to read the data anyways, and then an anesthesiologist will administer the drugs according to that data. So if you can create a robot or create a system that can just use that data itself and be so, competent to be able to administer the drugs, then you definitely have a risk mitigation factor, because it is just completely data driven. This robot can't do anything unless it's X, Y, Z, and it only administers a certain amount of the drug based on those requirements, right? If you can literally create it seamless, because if there's ever a glitch in that system, we're talking about people's lives. So maybe not a full replacement, but and again, in the health industry, everything has to be FDA approved and everything like that. So,
but it is. I mean, I think it FDA approved sedasis, for patients 18 and older. So I mean, there is approval for this to happen, and it's happening right now today.
So that's really interesting. So now it's you think about the implications of that. It's I'm going through med school right now, and not actually, I'm just saying as a hypothetical situation, but I'm going through med school and I'm trying to figure out where to best focus, what I want to do. And if I wanted to do anesthesiology, maybe I don't go that way now with something like this coming in the horizon, right?
The costs are massive. I mean, right now it costs between $600 and $2,000 for an anesthesiologist to apply the anesthetic.
Wow.
This technology can do it for $150.
See, and this is what we talk about, automating or creating something where you almost can take out the human interaction. Another one a bit lighter of the side is Bellhops. So there's a hotel, a loft in California. Yep. They've got a robotic bellhop.
It's not the same as a valet.
Oh yeah, just so you know. And then again, something that's usually a human interaction, but from a company standpoint, you have to pay that person to be part of the bellhop, to grab bags, to organize everything, put them up to the room, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
This little guy can go from the front desk, take a message, or take a package dropped off at the hotel. It goes into a canister. He looks a little bit like R2-D2. It goes into the elevator. It can navigate the floor. It can navigate the people in terms of motion centers on that floor. It can go right to the hotel room, like the hotel door. It can knock. It can sense when somebody opens the door. It can authorized based on identifying that individual, and then it opens up its top, and then the package is delivered straight up.
See, like what he just explained, that's where we need to stop artificial intelligence.
Hey.
Let's not develop it any further, because everyone who is the top minds in the world will tell you that the greatest existential threat is artificial intelligence to us. So all I could see is, that robot gets so advanced and says, you know what, I don't like these people, and just like takes them apart like iRobot or something like that. But
It could happen, but I think it might happen from one of these chef robots we've been reading about.
oh yeah, the chef robot. So this was something that I always thought, I was like, I think that in a restaurant, for example, you see like McDonald's has already implemented it, where you just go to a touch screen and you push a button.
But that's different. Like we're talking chefs.
But I'm saying where we are and where this is headed.
Okay.
So that's one part. But then you have humans making the food, and then Starbucks, they have an app, the app where you can now order the coffee before you go and pick it up, and so that's genius. So are we then going to get into restaurants where you could just go on an app, do it, and a robot makes your food for you? And to the perfect data, again, to the perfect measurements, the perfect slice, everything.
Yeah. Well, check to see what the name of the restaurant was. But in profiling this particular category, they have a robot that has 20 moving motors. It has 24 joints, 129 sensors, and it can make a very complicated crab bisque perfectly.
He's it's a noodle slicing robot named Foxbot.
Foxbot.
You can find it at Dazzling Noodles in North China. So there's a robot there that can do 20. It has 20 motors, 24 joints, 129 sensors, and it can complete a complicated dish in 30 minutes, and it even plates it. And this is something that it's going to it can make the perfect knife cut noodles, a specialty of Shaanxi.
And that matters more in different parts of the world, of course, having perfect noodles. I'll tell you that right up.
Yeah. I mean, you don't need perfect noodles, but the fact that we can get perfect noodles and not have to have a chef spend an hour and a half on the perfect noodles, a robot can do it. Well, maybe now we'll care about perfect noodles, right?
Listen, robots can drive camels. In the Middle East, they have camel racing, and I think up until 2002, they did actually have jockeys, in the 2, 3, 4 years of age range until that was banned. Human rights, I think, maybe came into play for that one. But they have these robots that can drive camels for camel racing, and they weigh between 1 and 3 pounds. And so you actually literally have robots driving the camels. The camels are racing. They're racing for money. Bets are being placed, but it's all done by a little guy on the back that needs a little bit of oil and a spit shine.
One thing right now that's not a full-on robot race, but interesting enough, I saw a video the other day about drone racing.
Drone racing.
And they had an empty Miami Dolphins stadium, and it literally looks like Star Wars. They've got these light up green boxes in the middle of the stadium or on the seats, and these people are flying drones in a drone race, getting through the boxes, going in and out of the concession area. And
who's the sports celebrity? Is it the guy behind the gears, or is it the robot that's going to take center stage? And you have a picture of a flying robot, or is it the guy that manages the controls? Who's the hero?
Well, it's kind of like a horse race.
I don't know. It's a camel. You still like the camel.
If you build a robot if you build a robot its whole life and it wins a robot race, or you groom a horse its whole life and it wins a horse race, who's glorified? The person who made the robot, the person that trained the horse? Is it the horse itself? Is it the robot itself? Who gets the credit? Especially when it comes down to something that's so technically advanced that you need the person who's grooming the code to have the super successful robot. Anyways, sidetracked a little bit. That's a whole other discussion. But just to see this drone racing league and how interesting it is, it's like, are we on the? Because in the night from 1900 to 2000, it was huge. Professional sports, huge. Industrial Revolution, huge. And now we're from 2000 to 2100, right? It's kind of the same. It's the same time period. I want to make sure I want to make sure I'm quoting this right.
Doing the math right.
But from 2000 to 2100, we're going to be even in a bigger change because it's all technology based, and technology makes things change exponentially more efficiently and fast. So we've got an industrial revolution that changed the game, and now it's going to be an even bigger change. I think
it's a big change. Yeah, it's a big change.
I don't even know how to explain it.
Well, I think what we've
robots
talked about,
and sports.
I think those are very, very, very interesting because it's applications, and I guess we're talking about applications, except for the anesthesiologist example, that are a bit more entertainment driven. In terms of how they're used and integrated.
But even receptionists, we've seen there's a robot receptionist as well.
Seiya, right, from Japan.
Yeah, so you go to a reception and you expect to to see someone and say hi and everything like that. And you
700
never know.
words, 300 phrases. They can pretty much answer any question with that
And
vocabulary.
then from a company standpoint, you have to rely on your receptionist to always be, representing your company to the highest integrity, always putting people in a good mood when they come to your organization, right? And people have good and bad days. So when you have a robot that can only have good days, does that make your experience when someone comes into your office or your store more enjoyable? Retail sales associates, the same thing. Is it making it more enjoyable to interact with a robot? I mean, we're in a day and era where a lot of people don't even want to talk to other humans. There's so many things that you wouldn't have to speak to someone about it, right? We're eliminating so many tiers of the communication chain.
I'm not really sold on that. I don't know how I would interact with, a kind of a blatant, in my mind, it would be sterile. But I mean, I guess you can make it personal. Like if you think, a really smart dog, he knows 300 words. My dog does.
Really? Oh, I guess. Oh, yeah. I'm saying wait, but your dog doesn't speak 300 words, obviously. Because I'm going no, there's no way.
No, he does
not. Because I
not.
think my dog can speak human. I'm just waiting.
Yeah, but smart dogs know between 300 and 1,000 words.
I know.
So granted, they can't converse, but they understand the commands. There's elements of body language, the deliverables, the tonality, all that stuff comes into play. Is a robot that smart?
I don't know. I think we just underestimate the power of the human mind and the capabilities of what we can accomplish. We're on this world with so many different types of animals and everything like that. We've been able to construct so many things because we have functional thumbs and we have highly evolved cortexes. And there's never been another species that could compete with us or do things that we could do, except if we create it ourselves. Robots that have functional hands and arms and legs and feet and a mind where you can get it to a certain point of consciousness, understanding people, maybe understanding sentiments, understanding body temperature, to then create a reaction based on those, based on that data that they're reading off someone else. It's creating a different species, and if that creates then competition for jobs in the future, jobs today, and it'll be very interesting. I think we're about 5 years away from really seeing them in the main workforce. So if you think your job is safe, I'm sure it is, but there's definitely some jobs out there that will become obsolete. And with that obsolescence, if that's a word, with that becoming obsolete, there'll be other opportunities because there'll be more free time. Maybe we'll see more of the sharing economy.
There's going to be more emphasis on creativity and original.
I don't think there's any excuse for anyone not to create something in today's era if they want it bad enough. There's enough resources in place. There's enough people in place that if you wanted to go after something, you could create it. Just whatever it is, that you just have to have the motivation, the ambition, everything like that. That's what I believe. So whatever it is that you're in, just remember, your job it's safe, but we've already seen some applications where you would never think possible for robots to take over.
They're here.
They're getting more advanced, more developed. If a security guard can become a robot, if a chef can become a robot, then what applications, wealth advising, what applications would be safe from that? We're not sure yet, but we're excited for the future. And on the next show, we're going to talk about where we'll see the next jobs in 2016 or maybe 2017 next. So we've seen some now, but what are going to be some of the jobs that you didn't expect that we're going to start seeing more of an automated and robotic play? It's a big game, hunters. Wednesday, as Mike says, Wednesday all day. Jason Berard, Michael Flint. Check us out on LinkedIn, YouTube, #MagnaOnAir. We'll see you next time.